Well, growth stocks, you think they're just going to start recovering, don't you? And then boom, it starts going down. Yeah, growth stocks absolutely sunk yesterday. And in fact, the whole market in general wasn't great yesterday. The S&P 500 was doing okay. It was down, but especially towards the back end, fell off an absolute cliff. And wouldn't you know, the culprits that have been propping up a lot of the stock market through 2021, they even had a bit of a dip. The likes of Microsoft, that just didn't dip off it towards the end. That just fully went and fell off a cliff from the start, from the open. So to see Microsoft down 3%, quite a fair bit. And what was actually really interesting is if you look here, since we actually turned into this new year, Microsoft is actually down 7%, which is a fair bit for Microsoft. Apple, one of the big major holdings in that S&P 500, same again. This was basically what the S&P 500 looked like, sold off towards the end. But once again, very interesting pattern here is that since the end of the year, this one has sold off a little bit. Not as much as, say, the Microsoft, for example, but a little bit. Nvidia, this one was one of the stocks that just totally sold off through the day. Didn't look anything like the S&P 500, down 5%. And once again, a bit similar to Microsoft, if we go from about this period here towards the end of the year, 10% down. Tesla's, since it brought out its amazing deliveries report, this one just sold off as the day kind of went on. Looks a bit more like the S&P 500, but yeah, and this doesn't follow because of the delivery side of it, but since it did peak up there, it has had a bit of a drop off the last few days, nearly down 10%. Now I think a lot of these big market caps, they were down because of the Fed. Basically what happened is the Fed came out and said they might have to raise rates faster because of the inflation. So I think that was the cause for the stock market to start dipping down even further. But like I said, even before this happened, you had the likes of Nvidia that was just falling off a cliff, and the likes of Microsoft were just generally down through this day anyway. But in particular, what then happened is there was no rotation into the growth stocks. The small market caps have been beaten down for the last 12 months nearly now. They just went even lower, and it was one of those where you thought they were starting to kind of recover a little bit, and then boom, they go down. I mean, DraftKings, I nearly fell off the chair when I saw the share price today, or yesterday. It was absolutely bonkers. It's down at $24. It's near at 50. It's at its 52-week close. And you look at the share price now. The last time it was $24 is, you have to go all the way back here, which is May time. So yeah, it hasn't been $24 since May 2020. So a year and a half ago. That is how much that has just totally reversed. The likes of Gang, very similar industries, both totally reversed here, just falling off a cliff and keep going lower. Teledoc as well, once again, where the share price is at, and look at the fall off this one's had. Hims has been doing okay, like in the last few days. I was starting to think Hims is on a very good rally here. I thought it was one of those stocks that was starting to show them signs of life, and then within a couple days period, it just gave it all back, and it reverses 13% within 2 days, which is just nuts. And it's not even just like the stocks that I follow. There's some stocks that I really like, but I don't own. A stock like Fiverr, I'm a big fan of Fiverr, don't own it. I just haven't got around to the valuation just yet on this one, but I do really like the company. I think it's a fantastic company, but when I just keep looking at it, and this one keeps going lower and lower. In 52-week close is $93. It's at $95, and look at this. I mean, the share price is $94. Once again, you have to go all the way back here. Let's just have a look. Where we go in July 2020. The last time it was down here. So yeah, that's just shows you something. Upstart, this is crazy. I mean, this went on a crazy run at the back end of last year. Went up a crazy amount, and boom, it's just giving it all the way back right now. CrowdStrike, another really popular one, within the last 2 months, which is when a lot of the bloodbath has happened for a lot of growth and mid market cap stocks. 36% within 2 month period. Cloudflare, once again, another popular one. This went on a really good run towards the back end of the year, and once again, this has just reversed it all in a 2 month period. DocuSign, same again, this one has just absolutely dropped off a cliff. Same again, this has basically wiped out all of 2021's gains, and you're even having to go back to roughly June time on this one, when it was like last down at these sort of prices. And I think this stock in particular just totally summed up how negative and how much of a bear market we're in right now, which is Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat has had, the last earnings were not very good. So I justify the share price having a little bit of a drop in this one. You know, the earnings weren't good, and if your earnings aren't good, you're going to get punished by Wall Street. Totally agree by that. Now, the drop that it has had, I don't know if I agree that it should deserve to drop as much as it has done. So, I mean, we've gone from $150 down here to $58 at 52 close. But the crazy thing is with Beyond Meat, it actually had a 15% reversal day. So actually the shares on Beyond Meat was up 10% in pre-market, and within the market opening up, it just went lower, 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 and then it was just flat, and then it went down on the day. So 15% reversal on Beyond Meat. And the crazy thing is today, Beyond Meat deserves to be a stock that, if the stock market was normal, it probably deserves to be up 20% today. The news that Beyond Meat brought out today was absolutely fantastic. And it was basically a day where Beyond Meat came out and said, look, going forward, we are actually going to make a lot of money because we've just got 2 major deals going. And for Beyond Meat to come out and say, look, we've just got 2 major partnerships going that's going to bring us millions of pounds in the future, and then the share price to reverse 15%, sums up how negative this market is. So the first bit of news, which was the one that was well covered, there was 2 pieces of news. One of them wasn't, and arguably the one that wasn't well covered was even bigger than this one, which was KFC are going to launch Beyond Vegan Fried Chicken at more than 4,000 outlets. So this is massive. This is a lot of outlets, and basically went on to say that they've been doing a lot of trials with KFC, and it's been very good, and they've been tweaking a few things, and now they're deciding to go to a lot more locations. And as well as that, there's a lot more locations to expand to. And as well, when you think about the other locations that do come with KFC because of who they own by, you've got Yum Brands, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, which they could potentially expand to the next few years. This is a massive expansion for Beyond Meat going forward. So this is another sign of loads of potential stores, which is going to add into the revenue. Now, this was really good news, but this one didn't get any coverage, and I could argue this is probably even bigger. And the news that came out here, which was McDonald's is now going to roll out the Beyond Meat McPlant Burger across UK and Ireland. So for me personally, I'm from the UK, so I have been to, so there was only a select amount of locations that were doing this, and the feedback has been that it's done very well. So what they've done now is they've expanded it to every single location in the UK, which is massive. So you've got the McPlant Burger in every location because it has been successful in the UK. Now, obviously that's going to be really good, and that's going to add a lot of income or revenue into Beyond Meat. But the other thing that is also you got to think about is that, okay, McDonald's have seen how successful this has been in the UK and Ireland, that they're willing to put it in every single location now. So why are they not going to now expand to Europe? Why are they not going to expand worldwide? Obviously, the national rollout in the US. You think about all the locations that McDonald's have. This is now lining up for McDonald's to have the McPlant Burger in every location. And it's same with KFC as well. You know, the locations here are absolutely amazing. This here has more potential to make more revenue than what the company does at the moment, which is what's really exciting. So you think about all that positive news there, all that revenue that's going to come in, the expansion today that's come from the stock. And then I tell you today, it made 52 close, and it went down 15% on a reversal. 15% on that news. That is when you start to understand the stock market that we're in. You start understanding that Beyond Meat could basically say that, oh, we've magically found 1 billion worth of gold underneath our factory, and now we're going to sell it, and the stock would probably go down. Like that's how ridiculous we're in now. That's how negative of a stock market that we're in, that we've got stocks like this hitting 52 close and going down 15% on that sort of news. And it is quite ugly out there. There's not much you can do. There's not much you can do as an investor. It is unfortunately a little bit of part of the game, really, that you are going to have situations like this, and it can be a little bit frustrating, but that is where we're at right now. And I thought this was a really good thing to finish on. And this is the psychology of a stock market. Now, if you look here, we were down here at probably March 2020. If any of you guys were investing there, you were probably in here. The stock market had just fallen off a cliff. The stock market in 2020, when we had the crash, if you were in there, you would know what it was like. It was literally like stocks were losing 10%, 20% every day. and it was like for a good few weeks, it just fell so quickly. Now the good thing was it was over very quickly, but it was quite painful to go through. And whereas right now, I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, I'm seeing where my portfolio is going down like 1-2% every day. Whereas back in 2020, it was literally like seeing your portfolio go down like 10% every day, which isn't great. It's still not great. Even though it was over quick, it still wasn't a great feeling when you're going through it. But then going through 2020, we had this, we had hope, we had optimism, we had belief, thrill. Definitely towards November, I would say that we were at the thrill stage. And then I think when we got to February, euphoria. We got there. We got to the point where everyone just kind of got carried away. Like, stocks just kept going up and up. And it did get to that point in February. If any of you guys were following the channel, I was like, this is a little bit worrying. You know, the valuations we're at now and how these stocks keep going up, it is worrying. Like, we got to the peak bull market. And it is crazy to think that that's where we were at only a few months ago. We were at a point where the stock market just kept going up and up and up and up. And it's crazy to think that we've totally gone down to the other side of that now. And it is a little bit tricky to see that point of view that one day we will get back there. One day stocks will come back into favour, especially growth and small market cap stocks. They will come back into favour. That is how the stock market works. It goes through cycles. That's part of the game, and it's just normal. And it is tricky when you're at the top side of it. You know, when you're back in February 2021, it's tricky to be at that point and go, at some point this is going to stop. At some point this is going to reverse, and you don't see it. You don't really believe it until it happens. And then when you get to the point where we're at right now, which is down in the dumps, you start thinking, I can never see them days coming back again. You know, you start doubting yourself that them days are going to come back when everything's absolutely amazing. And it's funny, when you're at the peak of either side, you do kind of start questioning, is that day going to come where we totally reverse? And you're doing it here, and it's happened. And now we're down here at the lows, and we're thinking, is that reversal going to happen when we go the other way now? And that's what happened in February 2020. And then from there, complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, and then we just get down to this stage right down here, which anger, depression, disbelief. I think I've seen this a few times on the Discord as well. You know, there's people, you know, messaging each other thinking, and I'm doing it. I'm not saying this is a negative thing. I personally do this as well. You know, you get that little bit of a hope, and then the stock market starts going up. You see your stocks going up, and then it's like, oh, this is just another. Well, they put here, this is a suckers rally, but it's just going to be like the others. It's just gonna fall off like the others. And I'm sure you can relate to this. I'm sure you can relate to this cycle that is going on through here. And the best thing to look at right now is looking at the market cycle and what I've just shown you here. What stage do you think we're at? And that's the big thing. What stage on here do you think we are with the small caps and the growth stocks right now? Because we're definitely not here. We're definitely not up here. And I would say that we've probably passed quite a few. I love this one. Look at this panic. I can't say this out loud, but read it. It made me laugh when I did read this. But, you know, whereabouts on here do you think we're at? I think we're definitely not at these three stages. I think we're down here. I think that, in my opinion, we are somewhere between this stage here and this stage here. Because I think when you look at it, a lot of our growth stocks are still putting in 52-week lows. So I think we are probably somewhere around here at the moment. So yeah, I think, to be honest with you, like I said, I think we're somewhere in this range. So when we're somewhere in this sort of range here, we are kind of like at that peak of where we're at in February, where you're like, oh, it just keeps going up. We were at the stage where it just keeps going down and down and down. I think that is the stage that we're at. You don't know, no one knows where the top of the stock market is or where the bottom of the stock market is. Otherwise, we'd all just wait for the top and sell out, and we'd all wait for the bottom and buy in. You can't really do that as in the stock market. And as long-term investors, all you can do is just position yourself in the best place. So when you have this going on, you're a little bit cautious, you're a little bit fearful, you trim a few positions, and when you have this, you're a little bit greedy, you start building them positions, you take advantage of these dips. And like it says on this little top bit here at the peak, point of maximum financial risk. It is, when you're at them sort of points and you are at them sort of stock prices, say if you're buying there, that's the point where you are more than likely have the biggest threat of losing capital. When you're down here at these sort of the big dips here, these are the point of maximum financial opportunity to capitalize on them. And it is tricky. This is by far, I've always said many times, these are the trickiest points in the stock market for sure. This is easy. This is the easy part of the stock market. When the stock market's doing this, it is easy. When the stock market does this, it is a test. It is the tricky and the awful part of the stock market for sure. And I'm sure some of you guys have been through this before. It is when you've kind of got that experience, you have that little bit more about you. Like, I've been through this. Everything's going to be all right. But especially if you've been through only this and you've been basically in the stock market after like May 2020 and you're seeing this now, you're like, holy crap, what is this? It is tricky. But yeah, obviously this is what's going on, and it's tough out there. It's tough out there, but unfortunately that is part of the game. And I think the big thing right now is just to kind of look through something like this and just to reassess everything and try and just get in a good frame of mind of, okay, what is going to happen in the next few years? Where are these stocks going to be? What's going to happen to the share price? It's at the lowest valuations it's ever at. Is it just going to keep going lower and lower? No, I mean, unless it's going to go to zero. So it's more like looking where planning out where the cycle happens, thinking about the long term, thinking about where the business is going and not the share price, and making it through the other side. Really, is difficult at the moment, but at some point, like I said before, when you're here, you didn't see this happening, and it happens. And when you're down here, you can't see that happening, but it will happen one day. And the cycle will change. So hope you enjoyed the video anyway. Thought I'd just talk about what's going on in the stock market and a little bit of an update with all that. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you could, hit the like button if you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you next video.